Interesting days ahead now for Pakistan. To discuss what's happening in Pakistan, I'm being joined by Tanzila Mazhar, Zishan Arif and Kuwar Khuldoon Shahid. Thank you so much for joining us here on World Today. If I could come to you, Tanzila, first. The situation on the ground is a little iffy when it comes to the numbers. Nawaz Sharif made his victory speech and he has actually asked lauded everybody who's won, but also asked them to rally together for a better future of Pakistan. Are we then to expect a PMLN leadership taking many more independents along to form government?
Yes, one proposition offers, that scenario for Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz. But as a party, they got the highest numbers of seats, so he had this right to invite everyone. Let us see that how Pakistan People's Party responds. I was telling you that Pakistan People's Party has been making it clear that they would not like to have an alliance with Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz. So that electoral campaign and its bitterness is gone now. Interesting days are ahead, and we all know that Asif Ali Zardari is known for his tricks and reconciliation and his patience. So I think likely Pakistan People's Party will join hands with Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, and they will definitely then invite MQM. They got good numbers in Karachi and Sindh. So you can see that a PDM plus government scenario would be there.
Well, Zishan, if I could bring you in, it is a celebration in many ways than one. We are looking at a very different Pakistan. While they say that it is not absolutely unprecedented, but the fact that the mandate, that people came out and voted against the wishes of the military, that this is a voice despite Imran Khan being put in jail for the PTI leadership, clearly shows that Imran Khan did steal the show.
Well, of course, that happened. That happened yesterday, and the world has seen it by now. But if we look at the situation today, after Nawaz Sharif's speech, he mentioned that he has tasked his brother Shehbaz to sit with Zardari, Asif Ali Zardari of People's Party, and they're looking to form a coalition government, just like they did with the PTM. And the one thing he has mentioned that he has accepted that no party has gained the majority in the National Assembly when he said that if they got the most number of seats or if they got the majority, then they would have also asked the parties to sit with them. But right now, they haven't got the majority. But what they have indicated right now is that Pakistan cannot go into the elections again. No party is in the position to form a government. And
Right.
if they wanted to find a solution, that would have been, a fresh election. But he said Pakistan cannot go into elections once again after spending all these, every resources on this election. So we cannot go back to fresh elections. So what we have to do is now we have to sit together. I urge all parties to come to the table. I'm willing to sit with all the parties and all the independent candidates as well. I respect their right to represent their constituencies. And I urge them to sit with us, come form a government, and bring Pakistan out of this crisis that we are in at the moment.
Right. Shahid, the fact that the independents now would have a choice to join a party or the other, what is your expectation of what they're going to do? Are they are likely to join a party which was a former ally of the PTI, or are they going to look at the mainstream parties and be mainstreamed? And if that happens, that certainly will be done with the military stepping in to negotiate terms and conditions.
Definitely, after a couple of days of chaos, what we have ended up with is precisely what everyone was predicting. A government led by the PMLN, but heavily influenced by the independent candidates. In a way, if you look at the final results, in a way, everybody has won. The PMLN would end up forming the government. The People's Party has gained, has ensured its stronghold in Sindh is intact, but also has made gains in parts of Punjab and elsewhere. While Imran Khan and the PTI has categorically proven that they remain the most popular party in Pakistan. So all of these parties could come together and finally decide that we want a progressive democratic Pakistan. But if you listen to Nawaz Sharif's victory speech, quote unquote, it was very carefully worded. He called the PMLN the single largest party. Now, that would have. I mean, he said that before the final results were announced. So he knew that his party would be the party that would get the most seats, at least in terms of being the only party on the ballot paper, regardless of what happened to PTI affiliated independents. So him saying that, then he also invited everyone. He invited the independents, he invited all parties. He was talking about all parties. Now, this phrase could mean both things: all parties, as in all parties, including the PTI, but he could simply be meaning all parties that were on the ballot paper. So again, the ideal scenario for Pakistan is everyone got what they wanted. Let's come together. But the likelihood is that a large chunk of the independents would go to the People's Party and the PMLN, and hence all of these parties would form the government. That's the likely scenario.
Okay, we will talk about the larger picture of the elections and the future of the status of government formation. But before that, Zishan, if I could bring you in. Nawaz Sharif also spoke about good neighborly relations, and he said he wants good neighborly relations with India. Now, is Nawaz Sharif the best chance to peace between India and Pakistan, irrespective of the fact that, yes, he's spoken about Kashmir, harped on Article 370, and that certainly is not going to be reinstated by India?
Exactly. Nawaz Sharif, during his campaign speeches, and even before that, when he was in London in self-exile, he mentioned that Pakistan needs to have good relations with India, but that depends upon the situation, what the establishment and and those who actually dominate over the foreign policy of Pakistan decides as and when Pakistan should have good relations with India. It is not up to the civilian government to some extent to they could adopt backdoor diplomacy and things like that, but it will be totally with the military establishment to decide as and when to start trade and all these aspects with India. And but what he could do to start with, if he's become the fourth time prime minister, he could start building relations with Iran and then Afghanistan and other neighbor countries. We've seen soaring relations with Afghanistan. Our border was closed for about 2-3 weeks last month, and the trade came at a halt because Pakistan and Afghanistan were not on good terms, and same happened with Iran. So confidence building measures will need to be taken on all fronts, not just with India, but with all the neighbors, and he will have to decide where to start from. But specifically with India, as I mentioned, it will totally lie with the military establishment.
Well, I'll take that question to Shahid as well. Interesting point that Zishan makes, Shahid. He said it could be Iran, Afghanistan and India. But every time a leader, civilian dispensation, certainly Nawaz Sharif has tried to make inroads or move forward on peace with India, we've seen 2 steps back by the military establishment. In fact, if anything, he was punished for the UFA agreement between India and Pakistan, where Kashmir was not mentioned. And certainly this time around also, if he tries to be brave on the India front, he could face the brunt of the military.
Definitely, whether it's the backlash of the UFA agreement, whether it's the backlash over hosting Narendra Modi in 2016, whether it's hosting Atal Bihari Vajpayee in the 90s, Nawaz Sharif has had this impression that he wants better ties with India, which is true because he's very business oriented, and he realizes that Pakistan's economic interests in the region lie in cooperation throughout the region. But the fact remains that every leader, even Imran Khan after his win in 2018, one of the first things he said was, perhaps the Bharatiya Janata Party and Narendra Modi are the best people for Pakistan to negotiate with in terms of diplomacy. So every leader, once they come to power, one of the first things they say is some sort of. Imran Khan in his first address told India that if you take one step, we'll take 2 steps or something along those lines. So everyone says this. Now, would that irk the military establishment? Traditionally, yes. For example, you mentioned that the Article 370 in Kashmir was mentioned in a lot of the rhetoric. Not only would India not reverse the decision on Article 370, what is happening right now in Pakistan, that there is a lot of protests in the Pakistan-administered sections of Kashmir, or what is called in Pakistan Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. There are protests over there. So not only is a lot of that just rhetoric, the military establishment is fully cognizant of the fact that is not going to change. So what happens going forward? I think we've now come to a point where economically it is no longer feasible for Pakistan to play the disruptor in the region, whether that's eastwards or westwards. And I think what will happen, it might sound optimistic to a lot of the listeners, but what will happen is that there will come a point where even the military is on board with the better ties with India. Of course, had this been initiated a long time ago, Pakistan would have had better cards to play with, better incentives to offer. But right now, on the verge of economic bankruptcy, it's not. Pakistan is not going to negotiate from a strong point.
Right.
But so yeah, I think it will happen. Whether or not it happens with the fractured government remains to be seen.
Right. So before I end this discussion, my final question, Zishan, briefly, if you could tell me, is Pakistan on the way to chaos, a civil war? Because we are seeing a lot of the PTI supporters, PTI leaders really taking to court, taking to the streets, going to court. Is there chaos that you can expect in the coming days?
Well, we were expecting chaos after what happened with the rigging allegations and everything. But right now, what we can discuss is that after Nawaz Sharif has invited all the parties, so PTI will be sole party on one side, and then all the parties joined in the combined government, just when they did with the PDM. So we'll need to see how PTI comes up with. Our sources are confirmed that PTI leadership, because the leadership which actually was contesting in this election, that was the tier 2 or B team of PTI. So all the big wigs they were either in the hiding, or they were just were not contesting. So what they have decided now is that they have to come up after Nawaz Sharif's speech. They will be coming forward and they will give a plan to their supporters how to move forward. Either they're going to protest or they're going to sit in the opposition. If they decide to sit in the opposition, it will be a strong opposition, because we can see that the independents, they are winning around 100 seats. So if let's hypothetically speak, if PTI manages to win like 100 NA seats, what's going to happen is that they will get 22 reserved seats, and then 4 seats for the religious minorities. They will end up with 126 seats, which they cannot form a government with unless they ask People's Party to join with them to reach that number, which is 172, to form the government. But Imran Khan clearly mentioned when he met with the reporters before election in the jail, he mentioned he will never form government with the People's Party. So we have to see how PTI will move forward. If they manage to get 100 seats, they will end up with 120 seats with the reserve seats for women and minorities, and they will be a strong opposition.
Absolutely.
If they want to move forward. So we'll have to see, wait and see what happens next.
So the situation quite fluid. We'll keep tracking developments in Pakistan for now. And on that note, that brings me to the close of this discussion. We will be monitoring the situation very closely in Pakistan. Thank you so much, Khuldoon Shahid, Zishan Arif, and Tanzila Mazhar, who spoke to us earlier.